Someone asked on Reddit, what happened to the cool kids in your school after they graduated? Which story is similar to the story of the cool kids at your school? Express your opinion in the comments. Store 1.
The coolest kid in my school was one of those charismatic geniuses. He was on a full scholarship, partied with the jocks, played magic tricks on the nerds, talked to me about computer building, and always beat me at Counter-Strike. By the time he was 15, he was already playing 4 instruments. I think he graduated with a degree in chemical engineering, then went back for a year to get a degree in music theory. And after working for 5 years, he decided he wanted to become a doctor. So he went back to med school and eventually opened his own practice. It was like the guy had cheat codes for life. He's definitely one of those people you'd wish would go into politics.
Store 2.
One person became a school principal and basically has no digital footprint. I've been secretly searching for him for 10 years. And the only thing I've found is that he continues to do great on the bulletin results. Both of his parents were teachers, and he was super relaxed when he transitioned from really tough classes to much easier ones, and nearly graduated as the equivalent of valedictorian. They were both brilliant, but lazy. Their SAT equivalents showed they were much smarter than me. He used his scholarship to get into college for something else, and ended up failing out. He repeated the same at another university, and failed again. Then he went to business school, and also didn't succeed. One of the really attractive girls became a personal trainer. She's still very attractive, but now has 3 kids, and makes a living through Instagram and personal training. Most of the pretty girls settled down and became a bit more down to earth. Many achieved personal success in various ways. Most became housewives, raising kids, and seem happy. Most of the guys started working in mining companies. You can make good money there. Australians could probably guess where I grew up just from this description. One of the cool guys who didn't treat me well got involved in an incident and lost his life on Christmas Eve after graduation. He was a total troublemaker throughout high school, got mixed up with the wrong person, and they came back with friends. They didn't confess to anything, hired a good lawyer, and got away with it. Even though I'm 100% sure they did it and feel no remorse. I felt bad for his then girlfriend and family. I also think the stories of the less cool kids at my school were much more interesting.
Story 3.
Some of them have become successful adults with great careers, and they're really happy with their lives, while others have turned into a complete disaster. The girl group I used to hang out with, which used to be considered cool and sharp, has turned into a total mess with serious addiction issues. Many of them are also struggling with debilitating mental health problems. It's really sad because they had so much hope and potential. I hope they get the help they need.
Story 4.
I really don't know for most people. For one kid, there were dreams of moving south to escape the cold winters and gain life experience in a bigger city. He also had a big desire to break into the music industry. He was such a kind, happy, and charismatic kid that everyone loved. He found success down south, had a stable job, and even played music here and there. Sometimes you feel certain things about someone but don't know why. The little things they say and do can just give you a certain vibe about them. I always felt like he was carrying a lot of sadness inside. I remember him saying that he liked how certain substances made him feel, and it seemed like he was a bit defensive about it. That feeling of happiness led him down the path of trying destructive substances in search of more joy. Last weekend, he sadly lost his life due to an overdose.
Story 5.
One person went to jail for having illegal substances and thought about selling them. Another person dropped out of college and started working at a booth in a mall. The third person left a comfortable corporate job to start a non-profit organization that provides shelter, food, and job resources for homeless, single mothers and their children.
Story 6.
One girl is now working at a strip club. One of the cliques is still throwing bonfire parties. Some are at good colleges, but in easy majors, one is a bartender, and another is now married while still in high school. One girl was really talented, but ended up having a baby, and the guy knew exactly what he was doing for money. He was always drinking. The girl was constantly trying to be a YouTube mom, and another mom was an attractive girl, but had a baby, and was trying to go viral on social media. Most of the jocks who thought they were big shots are going to a local university, but there's nothing impressive about it. Others lost their scholarships because they were getting involved with underage girls. They were always thinking in the wrong way. The rest are still going to school like me to get their degrees.
Story 7.
Many of them performed well because of their social skills. A few encounters I had with them were even enjoyable. I guess a part of me is a little jealous that the kids who acted kind of condescending toward me in high school are happy and successful now and don't have a sad ending like the stereotypical movie where they end up overweight and miserable. But how can you be mad at them for turning into better people and being happy? To be honest, it's good for them.
Story 8.
I went to a private school, so all the cool kids had rich parents who owned their own companies. I think only about 10% went to college, and the remaining 90% started working for their parents right away. The 10% who went to college later found jobs through their godparents or other relatives. They still all hang out together, flirt within their group, go to the same club nights, and live through the same dramas they experienced in school. I guess none of them made new friends since then. When school reunions happen, they're the first ones to sign up. According to one of my friends who goes to them, they all flaunt their new cars, houses, and things like that, but they do it in a really sad way, as if they're stuck in our same wealthy hometown and are going to live the same lives as their parents. All the girls have had a ton of plastic surgery, and the guys look like businessmen in their 40s. It's a bit strange since we're only 24, 25 years old. So really, what happened to the cool kids is that none of them changed. They just aged very, very rapidly.
Story 9.
Most of us have matured enough to stop being thoughtless, and we did pretty well in college. One of the guys who left us before we moved on to A-levels, as far as I know, never graduated. He was at our first class reunion after everyone graduated high school and was reportedly homeless, working a terrible job, just carrying rocks or doing something similar. He told me he didn't like what he was doing, but when he asked me what I was up to, and I told him I was in my second year of apprenticeship and maybe made about $200 less a month than him. Keep in mind, I was earning less than 1,000 euros, which is still a lot for an apprentice. He suggested I quit my job and do something to make more money like him. Fast forward 2 years, I'm now making double what he does in a job I actually enjoy, with many benefits, without sacrificing my health for my daily ramen.
Story 10.
One girl is a model in Thailand. She's really beautiful and super sweet. Another girl has very wealthy parents and went back to France. She's just traveling and taking photos, working on various artistic projects. She's sweet too. Another one is an international business and politics graduate and works in the government, doing something related to diplomatic work with Palestine. She's a great person as well. I'm happy for all of them that everything is going well. I'm a bit jealous, but they deserve it.
Story 11.
Kid 2 grades older than me was a legitimate elite athlete. Tall, blonde, great leader, popular, insane physical ability. I played soccer with him, and even though he wasn't the most skilled, his 40 vert, speed, and 6'3" frame made up for a lot. He played basketball too and excelled, but his real sport was baseball. I'm not familiar with his stats, but he was heavily scouted by the MLB. He ended up getting drafted straight out of high school and put in the farm system. Scouts were calling him a top 20 prospect in all of baseball. Then, when he was 19, he had sudden blindness/loss of sensation and went in immediately for brain surgery, where they found a cavernous malformation near his brainstem. He spent the next 2 years rehabbing, and I think actually made it back to some minor league games. But then, the tumor reemerged, and he had to have another surgery. He retired from baseball at 22. He's had 20-plus brain surgeries in the past 13 years, and wears the scars of it. His right side is completely numb. He has double vision because one of his eyes are locked in place, and half of his face is frozen. Today, he's doing really well, all things considered. He coached baseball at our high school. He's an assistant coach in college, and he's actually a college student RN. He's married and had a kid a few years back. His story is surreal. Like the most promising kid got robbed for no reason, but still finds a way to persevere and inspire everyone.
Story 12.
Some of them crashed and burned after high school. I see them working odd jobs in the city. It feels good. Most of the rest have settled down and married very kind and loving spouses and have very nice families. In high school, they were all complete assholes to me. The bullies had no real reason other than the pleasure they got from bullying, so I always wanted to tell that to their partners and see what they say. One of them is my coworker, and I'm sure I'll bring up what an asshole her husband was at the wrong time. Bullying kids in a small town leaves you with some really awkward relationships as an adult, where everyone knows each other and your kids play together and stuff like that. I like to make it awkward.
Story 13.
We had a very big school, and this way I was considered popular, as more people knew me than I knew people, and I looked really good. I'm currently trying to lose weight because after a medical event led to extreme inactivity and weight gain. Because a lot of my self-confidence used to depend on my looks, I became much more introverted. My circle is now much narrower, and I have domesticated from my crazy lifestyle. I also became a much kinder person after I grew up a bit, almost in a harmful way. I didn't finish university because at that time ADHD was only considered attention deficit, ADHD paralysis, and other symptoms were not known to be attributed to it. So I was struggling with the independence that comes with not being supervised and not knowing that getting ADHD was inevitable. I didn't know how to deal with it, and I thought it was just a personality flaw. So I didn't do all my studies. It turned out that I was pretty good at sales and reached a pretty high level as an individual contributor in software sales. I don't have an engineering brain, but I just followed the money.
If you have a story you would like to share, please share it with us in the comments. Also, subscribe to my channel for more Reddit stories like this. And don't forget to turn on notifications. Take care, friends.